all of that. And I've been to court once, and it's so anxiety provoking. And
hey, I've done jury service. If you want anxiety provocation in court, do that.
Well, and the thing is, and then we'll get to, I want to do writing stuff because this is not about work, but
No.
I can't say anything. Like I'm being called as a fact witness.
Yeah, but you can't break confidentiality. So what can you do?
And it is out of the scope of my practice to make any recommendations on where placement is.
Mm-hmm.
It is, my opinions do not matter. Anything I say that a client says is hearsay, which is inadmissible. Like,
what's the point? I think is
exactly. Oh my gosh. And it's like, and my reimbursement is $10.
Wow. I don't know why you don't just retire right now, frankly.
So but all of that to say, I'm glad, because I need to write a court report. Actually, I need to write 2 court reports that will, keeping my fingers crossed. And viewers, if you can send some good juju, because that worked last time with the tornadoes and the grapefruit sized hail, that I don't have to go to court on July 12th. That would be
juju for July 12th. Yeah, Charlene, sending you good vibes already. So cards wise, we have 3 new decks just between us. We have the Seasons of the Witch Letha Oracle, we have the Dante's Inferno Oracle, and we have the, you pronounce it,
Tarot of the She. I learned how to say this. So, it even says on the back, pronounced She, the ancient Gaelic name for the noblest order of the fairy, Faery race. But I'm really wanting those summer cards, because they're in my Amazon wish list.
I see.
I've been eyeballing them.
Well, tell you what, let's do them then. Let's just see, because I like I say, I had a winter, I still have a winter deck, and I just thought, well, it felt weird doing a winter deck when the sun was blazing through my window, so I thought I would.
And then you know when the fall hits.
Shush! No! We are not thinking. No, that was mean.
Oh! I got a new my deck that I shared the coloring book and then the digital prints with you. They got shipped.
Oh! And we've got an Amber dying of heat.
Not dying of heat, also unable to raid in because I think you guys don't follow me, and I have our our settings on pretty high, so we will remedy that for next week.
Yeah, figure that one out.
So, I did direct people to come here though, but so we'll see if they show up. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, I'll have to share those. I'll have to share those next week
when they arrive. Yay! So I have got wand making. With a flick of focus, you will come to see a vision realized. There you go. 3. So keywords: creation, directing energy, manifestation. A wand is a ritualistic tool that is used to direct energy and also to summon energy, angels, and deities. It's a way to connect with your desired outcome, opening a channel of manifestation from the spirit realm to you on Earth. This is a card of vision and focus on your desires. When it appears, you may be looking ahead to your future, beginning to craft a clear understanding of what you want your life to look like in the coming days, months, and even years. Receiving this card is your encouragement to hold this vision and direct all of your energy toward these goals, but keep your mind and eyes open. As you focus your intention on manifesting your dreams, you'll find that the right opportunities and people will connect with your energy, offering exactly what you need to get ahead. The last meaning of this card is that you are creating a stable position for yourself. The foundations are being laid for what will likely be a great success. Your confidence is growing, and with it, your momentum. Keep up the good work, with your dreams front and center. So there you go.
What did the bottom of the card say? With a flick of focus.
With a flick of focus, you will come to see a vision realized. So, writing-wise, I suppose, even the tiniest decisions count, maybe? Thinking about long-term goals and creation. You know, because I think we've all been talking about that recently. You know, what are our goals with our writing? What do we want to achieve with it, and how we want to get there? Or is that just me making shit up as I go along?
No, I think you've got it. I think you've got it.
And for me, I feel like it goes maybe even a step further, because I start with so little focus that like when it all comes together, it's this really, really cool thing. And so kind of like watching it all come together and seeing, kind of just seeing where it goes and like where it ends.
Yeah. Amber, any thoughts?
Yeah, I've been feeling that creative spark come back over the past week, and just trying to decide where and when to exercise it. If that makes sense. Like I'm ready to get back to writing my fantasy book while I'm percolating Manny Fuego. I got the draft over to Jen and Chandler, or not the draft, the finalized version over to Jen and Chandler for the audiobook, and it's now like, okay, you know, we're in the process. I could ostensibly buy my ISBNs now and publish, or I can wait and do that, but that's kind of ready to be done, and my brain is like, yay, let's do some creative writing, and like let's maybe just make time in our lives to do creative writing regardless of what the end product is supposed to be, if that makes sense. So that said, I got a cold this weekend. It did absolutely zero things. So
several people I know have just gotten ill over the past couple of days for no apparent reason. You know, they were doing fine, then all of a sudden they walked into a brick wall and now they're laid low.
Yeah, summer colds are like that.
Everything. Yeah, I can't be doing with catching a cold. I don't
know what
need
the
to be ill.
No. Well, fortunately, you can't catch it from me over the internet. I don't think we're there yet. But I do have my sexy cold voice on. I'm drinking an Arnold Palmer today. And I apologize, but my summer wardrobe is going to be like various shades of I'm only wearing as much as I need to because it's hot. So let's get used to it, everybody.
No. See, the only reason I raised it last week was because it kind of looked like your bra was coming out, and I was like, if that was a stylistic choice, then you know, no bother whatsoever. It's just I was just trying to be like, I was being all British about it, you know. So
you're being very proper. I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't you know?
Californians, we just, you know, our summer wardrobe is just like naked with a little bit of something because it's so hot. But
your Californian summer wardrobe is like the high-end fantasy armor for women.
Kind of, yeah. Like,
as
little as we can get away with
armor,
wearing,
the less they're wearing. Yeah.
Yes. That said, we did get a break from the heat wave, so I am able to wear kind of like something else today, though I'm getting warm because I'm under my light. And I have a cold, so my temperature regulation is non-existent. But enough about me.
So I thought today, because we've spoken a bit about...
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Sorry, my channel mod, Tech, came over from my stream. Thank you, Tech, fellow Californian. Hey, and he's in San Diego. So, Dan, when you're in San Diego... No, he's not. He used to be in San Diego. I'm sorry. He's somewhere else now. He's not in San Diego. I lied. I'm sorry, Tech. You're from San
I
Diego.
don't know. You can't get the staff
So,
these days.
anyway.
Well, Tech, if you've got any suggestions, I'm going to be in San Diego at the height of summer. I'm going to be there at the end of July. So, and I'm an Englishman. I don't do hot weather. What I did do, though, purely because why? Because I'm hopefully going to San Diego Comic-Con. Touch wood, but we'll see. So because I knew I would need a hat, I thought,
I'm sorry. Did you not own a hat prior to this?
Why would I need a hat? I don't go. The outside is somebody
to keep the
else's
rain off your
problem.
face.
That's got a hood, you
Oh
know.
my God.
So I thought I need my hat to achieve two things. Firstly, make sure that everybody who looks at me can instantly say, "Oh yeah, there's an Englishman." Secondly, I need to be able to, I need to know that my son would hate it, so that if he ever annoys me, I can say, "Oi, do that again, and I will go out with you in public wearing this."
Wearing the hat. Do you have the hat? Show us the hat. No, Daniel, no. Oh.
I know. It's horrible, isn't it? I love it so much. It's the worst.
It's the most horrible hat I've ever seen.
I know. Isn't it amazing?
I'm embarrassed being on the stream with you now.
My son's response was exactly this.
Yeah,
Why?
as it should. Oh, Daniel.
Hey, yeah, but just imagine me wearing this and wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a D20 on it.
There you go. So yeah, Tech's asking if you're going to rock a Jurassic Park cosplay. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I could do
the Dennis Nedray.
You can tell instantly that I'm an Englishman, can't you? There's just nobody else on the planet would. Yeah. But yes,
my guess is you're going to see
it doesn't
a lot
strike
of...
me as a particularly British hat. It strikes me as a
1950s British hat. How about that? Hey, the horror on your face, Ember, means that it has achieved exactly what I wanted it to achieve. So I'm good. I'm good with it. I've reached peak dad. You know, everything I do is purely to embarrass my child, and he knows it, and he gets his own back. So
fair enough.
Yes, like an underdressed Bond. Yeah.
Oh. Look out, California. Dan's coming, and he's bringing his questionable fashion choices.
No, there was nothing questionable about it. It was done. You know, it was. Oh, we've lost Ember. You know, I had a clear vision in mind, and that vision was to cause as much distress as possible.
I mean, that's fair.
Oh dear. Well, whilst Ember reboots herself, she's or leaves us entirely. Fine.
I'm sure she'll be back.
Ooh, ooh, Tech, I like you. You and I are going to get on very well. Ha.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, baby. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I love torturing my child. It's just the best thing ever. Anyway, we're 17 minutes into the stream, and have we talked about anything to do with writing yet?
Our card.
Sorry?
Our card.
The hat was so bad it killed Ember's internet. And so Amber's back. We also have a Jen. Jen,
Yay!
you missed the hat.
I made it.
Oh, and
What
Ember.
hat? What hat?
Ember's still not with us. How you doing,
Ember's
Jamie?
internet is not good, you guys. Hang on tight.
No, well, like I say, the hat caused some technical issues.
Not my hat.
No, not your hat. No, Dan's hat. How's Jen doing?
Where's the hat? Where's the hat?
Oh, you want to see the hat? Here's the hat, just because our audience just needs to suffer even more.
No. No. What is that for?
Purely to embarrass my son, but also because I'm going to San Diego, so I'll need a hat, and I need to embarrass my son.
Not that one. Can we talk you out of it?
I'm sure you can give it a go.
Oh dear.
But
Wow.
so we have been talking a lot lately about planning versus pantsing. Oh, we lost Jen as well. What's going on? It's killed her internet as well. Jesus, one hat. I didn't realize that I had.
We should ban the hats.
Yeah, maybe just ban the hat. Yeah, okay. What was it? What We Do in the Shadows. Have you ever seen that?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's a comedy show with Matt Berry, who has the best voice on the planet, where they play where they're vampires, and a long-running, yes, the witch's hat tech. Yes, Laszlo finds a hat, and it's made from witch's skin, and the person holding it says, "This hat is cursed." And he's right. The hat is cool, and a long-standing storyline is where his enemy Simon the Devious, you are without doubt the most devious bastard in all of New York City, keeps trying to steal the hat, and every time either one of them gets the hat, bad things immediately start happening to them, but they're both obsessed with getting the hat. And get what is truly mine, this witch's clit of a hat. It's just
oh no.
It's such a good program.
Oh wow. I think that hat was the internet.
Yes, it's evidently it's a cursed hat. So yes, third attempt, and we've been talking a lot about planning versus pantsing of late, and obviously part of planning of any story, let's give Ember another try, is around the structure of the story. You know, you've got various things. You've got the 3-act structure. You've got the hero's journey. You know, you've got the snowflake method of and I was just wondering how we figure out our story structure. Do we plan it in advance? Do we just let it happen? Do we write what we're doing and then impose some kind of structure on it?
Yes.
How do we go around? Yep, I completely. Oh, Booney's here as well.
Hi,
I sent you an email last week, darling. If you check your spam if you didn't get it. I only wore the hat twice, Ember. Don't blame me. I'm not taking
the room. You have to get it out of
still
the
in
room.
the room. Okay. Well, I can't.
Throw it in the hallway. First, set fire to it.
Oh my God, Jesus! You hate it that much, eh? Right, blimey.
I kind of like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it'll just
it'll just grow back. That's why you have to set fire to it.
So, structure. Does anybody structure their stories? For the love of God, let's talk about writing rather than hats. We can talk about hats. We can. Terry Pratchett famously wore a hat whenever he was out in public as an author, and when he wasn't wearing it, nobody recognized who he was. So,
That's smart.
There you go. But does anybody structure their stories, or should we just carry on talking about hats?
I don't structure my stories. Also, So not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I went to Orlando and presented at a conference. And yeah, it was very exciting. My friend and I have only ever presented, like, he's been in person one time and I've been virtual, and I've been in person one time and he's been virtual, and all the rest of it we've been virtual together. So it was our first time ever presenting in the same place at the same time. It was very, very exciting.
Nice.
But afterwards, our mentor, she came to it and she told us, she gave some really, really great feedback. And like, she told us like our presentation needed to have a story arc to it, like an arc, almost like a story arc. And I was like, I never, ever, ever would have thought about that like that before. Because what she said was, she basically said you climaxed too early. Now you would have to you would have to understand this woman to like, this is totally a her thing to say. And I was like, okay, that, yeah, I can, but, and she was 100% right. We did. And so it has now, like, having her say that about a 75-minute presentation is kind of making me think like, well, crap, have I kind of been like, with all of the stories that I've written, am I climaxing too early with them? Or do I have multiples of them in there? I don't know. I don't, like, because I'm not a planster. I don't. So anyway,
I saw a little while ago on I kept getting spammed on, you know, YouTube and Facebook and all that, a deck of cards about creating storylines for presentations, something like storyteller tactics or something like that. Maybe that's worth having a look. I'll Google it in a sec, see if I can find it. Yeah, that's how Booney agrees. Oh, and Charlene has that, so, you know, okay. Charlene, you can tell us all about it.
I mean, after she said it, it made 100% sense. And Booney, that 100, that, like, that makes it, it totally makes sense. I just had never put those two ideas together ever.
Yeah.
And that so obviously climaxing too soon is an issue in many scenarios. What? Get your mind out of the gutter.
It's the hat's fault.
It's the hat's fault entirely. Oh my god, it's moving. And I think I mentioned this actually last week, where I noticed that when pantsers reach the climax, it's often kind of either underwhelming or happens too late, happens too quickly. Just it's over in a page or two. Yeah. And I think so. Whenever I get around to, because I tend to, with the longer form projects, like so novels or novelettes, novellas, whatever. I do tend to plan those more than my short stories, and I do like kind of a graph where it goes up to kind of a mini climax, then down, then goes up to another slightly more exciting mini climax, then goes up to the main climax. And me being me, they tend to be battles. So your first battle's like a skirmish where you meet your enemy. Second battle's a mid-level thing where who wins, maybe the enemy wins and they've got to retreat, and then the final battle where lots of people die and hopefully the enemy is sent packing. And so that's kind of how I, because that was where I Hey, you guys, and you're not wrong. Oh,
It's probably the software, the StreamYard software that it uses. We don't have to wear headsets.
yeah. No, I've never worn headsets. I just because I don't know. Personally, I don't like wearing headsets for my clients because I don't want that. It's not a barrier, but I don't know, just between my clients and then
maybe.
We've all got nice, fancy microphones. Apart from Erica. Erica doesn't.
No, I'm just using like my webcam, and my mic is just from my laptop.
Yeah, mine is too right now, just from my MacBook. Yeah.
I don't know. Then maybe it's just as you say. Maybe it's just StreamYard doing it for us.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway.
So, but because I was writing military fiction / military fantasy, and I was thinking in terms of battles, that was how I structured them, and so I've kind of brought that into other areas, like where I've tried writing a few romance stories. So you have the skirmish, which is maybe the first kiss, then the slightly bigger battle where maybe second base or something like that, and then
some wrestling.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. And then third base where it's weddings and stuff. So that tends to be how I view structure, but obviously my practice is monomyth counseling because I'm a huge fan of the hero's journey. And we can go into that in a minute. But how about you guys? That's me.
I don't like to plan a whole lot, but I realize how important it is, so I try to loosely plan. So like you said, you're not hitting that big spike early on, and you're trying to do some of the smaller ones to build up to it. But I feel like if I plan too much, then I'm not interested in writing the story anymore.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I try to keep it light so I can kind of pants my way through it.
Also, if you know what's going to happen at the end, it becomes boring to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which could be a problem too, but that's just how I've been. And I mean, I've only really finished short stories. I don't know what it would be like to try to tackle pantsing and planning a whole novel to try to reach those mini peaks and then the big one. That's a little daunting to me, but anyway.
I mean, it's interesting though, because whenever I plan and I have an idea of what the ending's going to be, that actually makes me excited to get to the ending, and I kind of get deflated as I try and oh my god, I've got to go through all this before I can get to that. Come on.
Yeah, there's that too. I don't know. I guess I feel like sometimes I feel like I have to, once I have the plan, I have to follow it because I'm a perfectionist. So then if I don't, then I kind of get down on myself and then I kind of lose interest. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay.
So I try not to plan too much, but just enough so that I'm still staying on track with everything.
Do you have a broad idea of where the story's going, or are you completely surprised?
Yes, but as you know, sometimes I don't know my ending till I'm at the ending.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the character or characters tell me.
Well, it's also I found that interesting because obviously you've been writing mysteries, and so you don't even know who the murderer is until you get to the end. And does that mean you have to go back and add more clues specific to the scenario, or do you just let it stand?
Yeah, I do try to go back and sprinkle some more stuff in. Some foreshadowing. Yeah.
You look like you got thoughts, Erica.
I was just thinking, because besides Alana's story, the only thing I've ever really I've finished is fan fiction, And I was trying to think of like if I planned any of them, and because most of the stories that I wrote were with challenges like that other people in my fandom put out. So with during December they would do the Advent, and so it would just be a word a day, and then in February, leading up to Valentine's Day, there would be a song a day. And so like those ones, I would never know what they were. I would just like, I would have to incorporate the word or the song into the chapter. And so those I never, like, I didn't know where they were going or how I was going to get wherever. I just knew where it was starting. I knew what the idea of the story was going to be. And those were some of my favorite. But then we also, my friend and I had a challenge that we started. And so we picked all the prompts out. And there was one story, I think it was actually one of my last ones I wrote, that as we were like picking out the prompts, the entire story wrote itself in my mind.
Wow.
And so, and I want to say, so it was every Friday between, I want to say September to December. So we had a prompt for every Friday.
Wow.
And, or maybe it was through November or like the start of November, because I don't know that we did it through like during November, because we were also doing the other writing challenge, and that was going to be a lot. But like that story ended up being one of my absolute favorites. And it was like I had it all planned out because I had a prompt for every chapter, so I knew kind of where it was all going. But I don't know that I have a preference. Like I love pantsing. I love not knowing where shit's gonna go. Like,
yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah.
But also it put a lot of ease on me for that last story that I wrote to know where it was all gonna go.
Mm.
Yeah. That peace of mind.
And she's back.
He's back.
And Charlene has been very lovely and put storyteller tactics in our Discord. So anybody who wants to join the Discord, pop in and see where Charlene's sent us. Amber, so I don't know what you've heard, but so we're just talking about.
Oh, not much. I had to reset the Wi-Fi, kick kids off of the TV. Like it was an adventure. I went all around my house trying to figure out why I couldn't get even my internet to come up. So
was it the numberjacks? Did you have to turn the numberjacks off?
Thankfully, no.
Jesus
I have
Christ.
not had to see the what's the one with the floating eyeballs, the puzzler?
The
puzzler.
The puzzler, yeah.
The puzzler.
That and
So there's
the
this
number
horrid
taker.
children's.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You want to tell them about the numberjacks, or shall I?
No, let's just. I mean, if we think that the hat is cursed, the numberjacks is just sent from hell. It's just no. So no, we've
Talk
just
about
been talking.
nightmare fuel. Wait, did Jane freeze now?
No, she's moving. I can see.
Just
Here?
for me? Oh,
Here?
okay. She's frozen for me. So
No.
I'm still working at minimum bandwidth. Jeez, oh Pete.
Aw.
So we're just talking about.
Anyway.
So the past, obviously, few weeks we've mentioned planning v pantsing, and we're just talking about story structure and if any of us structure our stories in a particular way. Erica says no, not really. Jane says no, not really. I'm saying yes, and and I have quite a particular system, a formulaic system perhaps, but a system nonetheless of getting my climaxes. I mean, do you have any systems, or am I alone in my insanity?
Systems? Like systems.
Systems or structures,
particular.
do you see your stories playing out in a certain way, or do they just tend to happen organically? And do you notice anything retrospectively, or is it literally just a case of butt on chair, fingers on keys, away you go?
I always have a North Star. I have a hard time writing endings, but I have an idea of what everything is going to look like in the end. It's the writing of the climax that becomes really difficult for me in making it like grand enough, pulling together all the threads enough, all of that stuff. But I always go into a project sort of knowing where the end point is. Like with Manny Fuego, I pretty much knew the ending immediately. Like once I wrote the first chapter and decided that I was going to, I mean, it was a short story. So once I'd written the short story and committed to the idea that it was actually the first chapter, then I had the end in mind. Like I knew exactly what that scene was going to be, that final climactic scene, and how it was going to play out. And I wrote knowing that was going there and doing the breadcrumb dropping, because I love when I'm reading a story, getting to the end and seeing it all kind of unfold in front of me and being like, ah, and then being able to go back and notice little things and little revelations about characters. And I don't want to give anything away, but there's a revelation about Mom in that book that you can see actually in the reread, like hinted at throughout the book. But I don't know if I would call that a system.
No, but I'm sorry. When I said system, I meant to say structure. Sorry, but I'd already used the word system previously, and my brain just got
like a plan, like a written out plan. Like, okay,
I don't know that I would call it a structure either. I think that it's just I write with an ending in mind, or with a goal in mind, and especially with my fantasy book, it's going to be 3 books, so I'm thinking about books 2 and 3 as I am writing.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting puzzle in and of itself, because obviously book 2, we tend to think, even if we don't actively use it, obviously we've all heard of the 3-act structure. You've got your beginning, your middle, and your end.
Mm-hmm.
How do you give, or do you give each of those books in a trilogy a beginning, a middle, and end, or does the first book only have a beginning, the second only have a middle, and the third only have an end? How do we go around doing that? Because I tend to I'm very episodic in my storytelling. I like I think Monster of the Week gets a bad rap. I'm perfectly happy writing, then we fought this guy, then we fought this guy, then we fought this guy at the end. Whereas, we're currently, especially in the speculative fiction genre, we're very much in a world of massive epic storylines. Thanks, Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin.
I mean, if you ask me, every story needs to have at least a conclusion that is satisfying in and of just that story. And it doesn't matter how big or small. I always go back to my Tamara Pierce books, which always kind of build on themselves as they get as they go along in each installment. But in my own story, there's this first book, and it goes beginning, middle, end, and our characters believe that they've reached the end of their story. But then in the second book, it's kind of like New Game Plus. Like, okay, they conquered that thing, but there's actually more going on than we realized. And now there's beginning, middle, end in that respect. And I think what's good about that is, in the first book, I have this whole smattering of characters, which I think is like pretty common in epic fantasy. In the second book, I'm going to have the luxury of my readers knowing those characters. So I don't have to spend as much time establishing these relationships, establishing these backstories, and establishing who these people are. I get to run on that knowledge and really spend a lot of time building out, which is going to be like,
yeah.
So I think there's that, and there's like thematically, each story can be a different thing. This first story thematically centers a lot on like dreams and dream, like, why can't I think of the word? I don't know, dream something, dream symbolism. There it is. Thank God. And the next one will be more about grief, and the third one, question mark, question mark, question mark. So that's how I'm structuring it, but that's me.
And then
Alana's still frozen.
Alana's story is just 7 books, 1 story.
Wow.
How do you keep that going then? Because that is a lot of story. How do you make sure that you get the satisfying climax in each book? Because I wouldn't have the brain power to write something that's large scale.
So that I guess I did kind of plan. I went through and found, I guess, what I consider for her like big moments. Like her big moments. And kind of broke things up that way.
Is each big moment the same as far as a climax, or is it big moment, big moment, big moment? Or you don't know? Or can it vary? Maybe one is bigger.
Yeah. They vary. And honestly, like book 4, I don't even know. I don't even know if that's fair to say that it's her biggest moment. Like that's like it's almost like book 4 is kind of like the climax within the whole book, within the whole series. For
Which kind of makes sense. It's kind of in between. I mean, if you had 8, that'd be perfectly in between, but yeah.
Well, no, 4 is perfectly in between because you've got 3 books either side.
Yeah. But like each book has got like bigness and epicness within it. And, you know, there may be some stuff that gets cut out in the editing process that like is important to us, like as players, that I would keep in for us, but not necessarily it translates well for everyone else. So like right now I'm writing everything. I'm writing everything and changing a few things that players did that just didn't really make sense. Like more so anyway, not going to get into that.
Kraken's here. Hello, Kraken.
Hi, Kraken. I was going to say, if
Graduated.
Tech is still here too, he's writing a story and wants to do a campaign to drum up the lore. So I was wondering if you, Erica, could talk more about what it's like to write based on a D&D campaign. But he may not still be here. Also, Jen, I'm sorry if I cut you off while I was talking because you were literally frozen for me the entire time. I don't know what's happening with my internet. It's cursed today. It's cursed.
The hat. It's the hat.
It's the fucking hat.
But yeah, it was interesting, like for me to try and figure out where to break things up. Because 5.5 years and seriously, like I'm gonna see if I can get it out. Like this is my notebook. Wow. This is my like my notes from the campaign. Wow. So
insane.
I don't have the brain power for that.
So you basically you take notes from the campaign and that just automatically becomes the storyline. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, and
Did you GM at all about their plans for the story and how that's influenced your writing process?
Okay, what?
So obviously the GM created the scenario, created the campaign that you're playing.
Yes.
Do you confer with them about any ideas, any scenarios, or do you just write from your notes and that's it?
Oh no, there will be times I will like be looking in my notes Here, I'm just going to go to a random.
We go, what the hell does this mean? What were we supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Tie rope.
Hold, please.
So turn, arrow, fly off of rope, corkscrew, lose, 48. I'm like,
What?
so then I have to think like, okay, what did that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can usually figure it out. Is
So what-
the really interesting thing is I can like, that will make sense. But then there are some things where I'll find something and be like, and I'll text the DM. I was like, what does this mean? And he'll be like, I need more context. And I was like, oh, so I'm writing, and this is what was happening in the campaign beforehand. And this is where I'm stuck. And he's like, oh, I think this is what that was. And I'm like, yes, that was it. So yeah, because we started this campaign in 2016 and played for 5.5 years. So that's like,
It's a lot.
yeah.
Man.
A lot to remember.
And were you keeping notes with the idea that you were going to write this into a novel, or no? So your notes are just they're just your logs from your game. Wow. And I thought my notes were cryptic. That's impressive.
I was going to say something deep and meaningful then, but it's gone.
but
I'm
then
also
like
unable to keep
because
an eye
of-
on the chat now, so if people are chatting, I'm not watching.
because
Lots
so
are
and I
asleep.
just turned to this because of my like, you know,
Booney's done a
aphantasia,
clip of us, apparently.
my aphantasia spectrum stuff. Like I have several things like this in my notes because I had to have a picture drawn for me of what it was that was happening.
Oops. Sorry.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Oh wow.
And then I have it numbered so I know which session it goes with.
Okay. Booney approves of aphantasia, apparently. Okay. And do you find that the campaign structure lends itself to the story writing structure, or are you having to write your story in spite of how it planned out rather than because of it?
I find that, and I don't know if it's just because of like how D&D is, or any, I guess TTRPG maybe is, but it's a lot of, I would say it's more like on the climax side than on the mundane side. Like I don't find it to be a boring story. Like there's a lot going on and there's a lot of things that are exciting. And I think the parts where I get stuck are like the travel parts. Like when we're traveling places, because I'm like, let's just get there already.
Mm.
Well,
And
I mean,
it's
why not
because
skip it then?
And there's like really great conversations that I remember happening during those times. And I think it's because I can't see the scenery.
Mm. But there's that adage too, like if you're bored writing it, then people will be bored reading it. So if you want to skip over that and mush those conversations into another scene, that's also completely valid. Like,
Yeah.
You know, it took me a long time as a budding writer to get over the idea that I had to show everything that ever happened, which sounds really silly in retrospect, but I was like, well, you have to know how they got to the boat. And I'm like, no, you don't. They got to the boat. It was without incident. They just got to the damn boat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm glad that resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to show them walking to the boat and then climbing up the thing. I'm like, no, they just could. And then they were there. And so I'm curious if that's something that, because of your aphantasia, you could just sort of like scuttle to the side, so in favor of things that are more interesting to you and frankly just easier to write. Which
Yeah.
there's no shame in that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do a lot of like revealing through dialogue and conversation because that's what I'm good at. So that's what I stick to.
There was a book I read a little while ago called, I forget who the author is. I think it was called The Black Tongue Thief. And a part of the conceit of the story world was that there were no horses left because there'd been this big epic war and all the horses had been, drafted for cavalry use and basically been slaughtered. So travel from place to place was a big thing. And at the beginning, the characters went out on a quest to this distant land, and the book was all about them traveling to get there. They got there, and it was over in 5 minutes. Back to it was a bit of a wet fart of a climax, and so
What a visual.
A wet fart.
And yeah, if you get too bogged down in the side quests, for example, you lose focus on the main quest,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that satisfies no one.
Yeah.
D&D, yes. If you want good travel rules, the One Ring has very good rules for travel, in my opinion. But,
there was actually a place, and I ended up just highlighting and writing in caps, like a bunch of stuff happens here because our party was, at that point in time, it was the biggest it ever was. There were 7 of us and the DM.
Mm.
that's a big group.
Yeah. At the end, there were 4. Yeah. At the end, there were 4 of us. So we lost 3 along the way. But like there was this one place where all 7 of us were like seriously all doing our own things.
Mm.
And I know what my character was doing. And so like I'm trying to also show when like during those times what everyone else is doing. So like I've figured, like I've put in like page breaks and stuff to indicate when like other people are doing other things, because most of it is from Alana's point of view. But I'm like, because I didn't take notes on what everyone else was doing because it didn't matter to me. They were off being stupid. I was doing the noble thing of, doing the thing, and everyone else was like treasure hunting and being greedy little bastards, and I was being the good one. And
I hate when the party disagrees on what to do next.
yeah. So yeah, which ended up like that kind of came into play at the very, very end. Like my good deed was kind of a cool thing.
Retribution.
I made a very powerful friend. So, but it's like, the tying up the loose threads for this campaign, for these books is like a job in and of itself, which is like, I have a lot of different spreadsheets and trackers to make sure of things, like I'm keeping track of, and like all of these different things and things that I'm changing and what I'm changing them to, and like that part.
Considering you say that you don't like planning, Erica, that to me sounds a lot like planning.
But for this, because this is so big,
Mm-hmm.
because this is so big, I have I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to, or else I'm going to totally screw stuff up.
I just saw Jen's face, she was just squirming at the amount of work you were putting in.
That's like,
Nope, can't do it. Nope.
It's going to be so good, though.
It is.
I mean, yeah.
And maybe someday people will be such big fans of your book that they'll look back at the archives at the IWF and be like, "Oh my God, she gave us so much here."
Oh, sorry. Cavemon's here.
Hi,
Hey, Mon.
Kate.
Don't worry, mate. Life,
okay.
universe, and everything always gets in the way.
I was gonna say about yes, we got to talk off stream and talk books with you so we can like get you on stream. What was I gonna say about Erica's? I was gonna say about multi-books. One of the cool things about that is you can develop a bunch of mysteries and only solve some of them at the end of each book, and continue making other things happen and develop those further until it all comes to, you know, a final conclusion at the last book. So that's another like delightful thing about writing multiple books is you can tie up the loose ends that are the most immediate, but then there's other ones that readers will be like, hey, wait a second. And then at the end of your book, it's like, wait for book 2. And they're like, all right. Hopefully they're excited for that.
That's good.
Not like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. Well, and there are some things, because when we had our last session, like the story kind of felt complete, and all we had left to do were all of these like different side quests. And I was like, my character would not care about going off and being a space pirate with these other two. Like,
I'm sorry, what? I don't think you and I can be friends anymore, Erica. I'm sorry. If your answer was no to the word space pirate,
she had other responsibilities.
Space pirate.
Responsibilities, okay?
Family and queen of a kingdom.
All the space booty that she missed out on.
Anyway, and so I was talking to my husband. I'm like, I don't want to go do that. That is not like Alana. That is not what she would want to do. Like that would not fit her story.
Mm-hmm.
And neither would them coming with her to do her thing.
Yeah.
And so we talked about it, and like for our very, very last session, we got to write our happily ever after. And so like I was going back and I was like, okay, what loose ends does Alana need to tie up? Which was kind of cool to like kind of think back through. And there was one we didn't tie up very well, and which is the kind of the big bad evil guy of the campaign we're in right now, because we're playing as their kids.
Oh yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah, we should have killed that bitch, but we did not.
Wow.
So one of those things where it was like you did the noble thing at the time of like showing mercy, and that was a mistake. Is that too much of a giveaway?
It's not too much of a giveaway because you'll have absolutely no idea who it is.
Fair.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I am often at odds with my party about people we should kill and people we should not kill.
Kill first, ask questions later. That's
Well, I'm a bard, so I hypnotize people and charm them, and then it's like we don't have to. And then sometimes, no, my husband is a hot-headed ranger type who likes to kill people.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
And I'm like, come on, man, we just charmed him. We can just like leave him here and be friends. But what if, Erica, hold up, space pirates. Pirates in space.
Please, pirates
You'll
in
I need to put on that again and say space pirate.
What?
have fun, Bunny.
Give us a link, Booney. We'll
Give us a link.
yeah, send us a link. We'll see if we
rate you.
can. shop
I'll
it
have to talk to my friend about writing Levanil and Zexel's happily ever after story so that everyone can get their space pirates.
Yay.
I actually don't super care for space pirates, but I'm here for the mischief of it all.
Well, they would be oh my god. So much mischief.
And on that note, I've just seen the time. Unless anybody else has anything they'd like to add on.
I wanted to posit something that I was thinking about doing. You know, I've talked about starting my Patreon so that I can write the Penelope files and get people excited for Manny Fuego, but I also want to start writing erotic fan fiction. However,
Woohoo.
I don't know how that tracks with my online professional persona, you know, like with my creative design business, and with the fact that I am a substitute teacher who works with children and do not want parents necessarily to know that I'm writing smut.
Yeah.
So how do I want to just put it behind a paywall, but then if I'm like ever advertising it under Robots and Magic, which is like my writing and streaming persona, there is a chance that people could figure out that it's also the me that exists in the real world who is other things. And so, you know, Erica, you've been kind of open about your writing of erotic fan fiction, and I'm just curious like what your take is on doing that, advertising it, talking about it, people knowing about it. Like there's nothing, it's not like, I mean, people get in trouble for having an OnlyFans, which I'm also like, come on.
Yeah, see,
But Robots and Magic was supposed to be my pseudonym, and Ember is my pseudonym, and so now I'm kind of like, I've crossed too many streams with pseudonyms, and now I'm just sort of out here.
Yeah, but
So for me, very, very, very few people know that what my writing name is actually me.
Because because a lot of authors have different pseudonyms for different storylines, you know, purely for the very reason you're talking about. They don't want to be. So J.K. Rowling, I forget what she writes those mystery stories, doesn't she? And
under Robert Galbraith.
There you go.
The most boring name.
Probably.
Well, and when I write my write my romance novels and start selling them, they will be under a different name also.
Yeah.
For professional reasons. Like I don't want my clients to, or their parents,
to associate you with that, because it would
and it is,
idea if they become your clients. And
it is not because I am at all. I used to be very not ashamed, but almost embarrassed when I would talk about I read gay smut. Like I like what I read, and I've kind of stopped apologizing for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like what I write. I'm not going to go advertising like, hey, come look at the stuff that I write, because mainly so much because I don't want so I wrote like a fantasy Klein story once where it was like a multi-pantheon, and my mom wanted to read it, and I was like, sure, you can't say anything, like that is the only thing, like you like, this is your warning. Like, you cannot say anything. And the feedback she gave me was that God needed to be singular and capitalized because it was lowercase and was God's, Gods. And I said, thank you for the feedback. And in this instance, it's spelled correctly. And I don't know that she ever read anything again. But I'm like, I don't want people to criticize my writing. Like, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for free. If you don't like it, pass by it.
That's the thing, is I would put this behind a Patreon paywall. Like, because I stream this video game, because I stream Fallout 4, I'm like, kind of want to write erotic fan fiction about it. And that's already associated with robots and magic. So, like, if it's behind a paywall, does that mean, like, people can't, I mean, that means people can't get to it unless they really want to. So it's not like it could be found and distributed to other people.
Yeah, it depends on how much you don't want people to know. If you really don't want people to know, then the only way to go about it is to make sure that it cannot be traced back to you.
Well, and also it would depend. I mean, like, the whole thing with fan fiction is, from what I understand, is like, you're not supposed to be able to be paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
Now I know that is it. I mean, people sell fan art all the time.
That's where I kind of come up with, and it's like, the paywall would really just be to keep people out. Like, it would be like $1, you know, but it'd be just so that it's not just there and accessible. So I don't know. I'm struggling with that because I really want to write it. I really want it to be available to people who want it. It's fun, but I'm just not sure how to.
I mean, because
I run a business to business, I don't want people to be like, also, she's a freaky freak.
Yeah, because that's immediately what I think of whenever you talk.
Again.
Oh, one thing I would actually be interested in doing, maybe here at some point, is talking about how to write erotic fiction, because I've tried to try it, but keep wimping out before I get anywhere. And I would quite like to write it just to say that I am able to write it, if that makes sense. And so I would be well up for having a chat with yourselves about how, just the how of it all. Oh, we lost Emma again.
No.
I mean, would you be up for that, Erica?
Yeah.
You haven't lost me. I just went off camera to see if my bandwidth will keep up with us.
Oh, okay.
What is that?
That's me telling me I have a newspaper article or something to read.
What am I hearing?
It used to say sploosh. Now it goes, I win. I changed it to I win. And it's getting more and more sinister every time I hear it. The first time I heard it, it was quite cute. Now it's like, before it was, now it's, I'm like, I mean, did you have any thoughts on that, Ember/Erica, about talking about writing erotica, either here or elsewhere? Because I would be well up for learning, personally. Don't know if Jen would, but
I narrated.
If you can still see and hear me, I would love to talk about it more.
Yeah, cool.
But I don't know if you can still see and hear me.
We can, yes.
We can.
You narrated some?
Yes. Oh my god. Some spicy fiction.
She did. This was a whole thing.
So if you want to talk about that,
I'm
Dan,
going to kill whoever's eating my bandwidth today. That's all I have to say. I'm going to kill them.
Right then, I've got a few things I need to get sorted, so I am going to pop off, even if nobody else is.
Yeah, I do too.
So, shall we call it a day?
Nope.
Yeah.
You can go.
Dan, should I share my dragons really quick?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
So with the new tarot deck that I got, it also came with a PDF coloring page, like a coloring book. And because I like to shrink ink the crap out of things, this is a dragon that a client will be fighting this week that I've already shrunk.
Aww.
Love it. Love it
And
so
then
much.
this is a dragon that is not shrunk yet.
That's just incredible. I love that one.
There.
Wow. That's so cool.
Uh-huh.
This is what I do in my spare time. I shrink eating things.
I
love
need
it.
to give it a try, but gotta get around to it. All right, then, everybody. Where can we be found? Erica.
RPGplaytherapy.com. There is a training up right now if anyone is interested.
Mm.
Nice.
And then RPG Play Therapy on Twitch and YouTube.
Beautiful stuff. Jen.
You can find my sleep stories and bedtime stories on YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, and now Insight Timer, which is a meditation app. So
Congratulations. You didn't tell us about that. And they're all at Jane's Dreamy Bookshelf, are they?
yes, all Jane's Dreamy Bookshelf.
Amber.
I am at Robots and Magic here on Twitch and on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, keep an eye out for my streams and other fun stuff coming down the pipeline. Erotic fan fiction. Yay.
And you can find me at monomythcounselling.co.uk or on YouTube at The RPG Therapist. Lovely talking to you ladies as usual. Thanks everybody for coming along and taking part in the chat. A lot of fun, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.
And goodbye.